Hello, what is up? John Warren here with episode 28 of the e-commerce with John show. And in today's episode, I want to dig into something that I actually posted in one of my Facebook groups a few weeks ago. It got a lot of interest and I wanted to come back to it and sort of use it as an example of what's possible with e-commerce and with the high-ticket dropshipping business model in particular. So a few weeks ago, I posted some results from one of the businesses that I'm involved with, e-commerce businesses I'm involved with. I run the marketing for the business and, it was a good month. So I'm going to just flip over to that. You might have seen it, but if you didn't see it, I'm just going to flip over here so you can see what I'm talking about. And this was it. This was what I posted. This was a snapshot from our account showing the revenue that came in the month of May. Now, May was a good month. You know, you see there that the headline, the top line figure is $915,000, 682, and taking into account returns, it came out about $868,000. So I think this kind of blew a lot of people's mind. You know, if you maintain that sort of run rate, you're looking at about an 8-figure a year business. And it's a high-ticket dropshipping business. So what I wanted to do, I posted that. I've been constantly getting questions about it ever since. So I wanted to jump on and just talk a little bit more about this, but also to use this as kind of talk a little bit about how this actually happens and what it takes to do this. Now, look, because the reason I want to do that is a lot of people see this stuff and they think that there's some sort of secret going on to get to this sort of this level of results. And look, this isn't the biggest e-commerce business in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still doing very well. And, I guess I wanted to break down, like, there's a bit of a myth that gets perpetuated around businesses that get to these really big results. They're doing some sort of secret marketing stuff that nobody else knows or that nobody else can get access to or do. And there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. But the reality is that's not really the case. And so I just I'm going to talk a bit more about that right now, but just so you know that it wasn't a one-off, of course, I'll even overlay on this the results so far from this month, June 2020, and we can see that the same store is, on track for around about just under 600,000 before returns so far, and it's the 17th of the month. So we're going to hold up those results from last month and hopefully go a little bit further. Now, some people will say, of course, well, it's, coronavirus is happening at the moment and has been happening for a few months now. And so that's giving you a bump in sales. And that's absolutely true. Looking at all of the data on this business, I'd say that probably accounts for a 30% increase, over 30 to 40% increase over what would have been achieved without the coronavirus in place. And I can do that quite simply by comparing the months of May and June to the months of May and June last year for this business. I can see the growth in ad spend, the growth in traffic, the difference in conversion rates. And so I can use that sort of data to extrapolate where we might have got to without the coronavirus based on the work that's been done on the business in the year since. So definitely these results have been inflated due to what's been going on with coronavirus. But, so what? You've got to be there to take advantage of it in the first place. So this is a high-ticket dropshipping business. For anybody who's wondering, you see that's a really high amount of revenue for the month of May. There was 440 orders in total, and it's a high amount of revenue. Well, the reason is because this business is selling expensive products. It's not selling $100 products or $30 products, and this is one of the reasons why I personally love the high-ticket model, because it's only 440. That's still a lot of orders, but to do that many orders, get close to the $1 million mark, it means you don't need a massive team to manage that. If you're selling, $30 products to get to this sort of run rate, you got to sell a lot of them, like a really large amount of them. You've got a lot of overheads involved in that. You've got to have a lot of employees to process all of those orders, and it's a lot simpler this way. So this business has 2 VAs working on it. Now, that's changing, I'm going to say, because that's not enough. But quite literally, from an employee point of view, that was the overhead. So it's a high-ticket dropshipping business. And I'll be quite open. The net profit margin on these amounts of money is 12.5%. So after ad spend, it's 12.5%. So you can do the maths there. That means, taking into account returns, the profit probably came out somewhere around the 100,000 mark for the month of May. I don't know what it will be for June yet. Obviously, we'll work that out at the end of the month. So, once again, drop shipping, you're not working with the biggest margins, but still, I think anybody's going to turn their nose up at a $100,000 profit month. That's pretty good in my book. The ad spend to achieve this. That's another question I've got a lot. So this business, the only paid traffic it uses is Google Ads and some retargeting on Facebook at a fairly minimal level. So the total ad spend for the month of May was just over $14,000. And the vast bulk of that, like 90% of that, was on Google Ads and various Google Ads on that platform. There's some display ads, search text ads, and of course Google Shopping ads. The business is also on Google Shopping Actions, where it does make some sales there on the Google Discover network and those sort of places. So, I don't often post these sort of results screenshots because, everybody does it, and a lot of people do it that aren't really trustworthy, and it's not really my style of doing things. But I did want to share it mostly because I think it's a really good example of what's possible. I work with a lot of people who are in the high ticket dropshipping space, a lot of people who are in the small to medium sized e-commerce business space. So sort of for me, that's between that, $0 in revenue to sort of 8 figures a year in revenue, the $10 million mark. And this business, there is not a lot of secret stuff going on here to achieve these results. There's nothing that all of the people that are in my audience, like you, if you're watching right now or listening right now, are probably somewhere working your way towards this. And so I posted these results to show that of what's possible, really, when you get the right things happening in your business. So the business itself is only a little over 2 years old. So it was opened in 2018. And so it's not a really old business, but it has been steadily increasing in that time. So there is an element of seasonality to it. So this time of year is, sort of from, I guess, April to, the start of the fourth quarter, kind of September, November kind of time is its busiest period of the year. It does get quite a bit quieter around December and January. But it has a fairly long, in season period of the year, which is all based around the products. So the next question I think that a lot of people ask from here is, so how do you actually achieve those sort of results? And I think, this is the big question. So I said, that there's if the site itself is not amazing, it's a decent looking site. It's not groundbreaking. It's a Shopify site. It's built on the Shopify platform. It uses an off-the-shelf Shopify theme. It looks nice. It's not amazing. There's not a lot of special things going on the site. But, it's not horrible either. I said there was paid ads, and there's paid ads, right? But here's the thing. To get that result with one of these businesses, you can't do it all with paid ads. So that's the first thing that people have to realize. If you're running a high-ticket dropshipping business, or for that matter, if you ask me, any e-commerce business, and you want to hit those sort of results and maintain them for month on month and keep growing from there, then you're very rarely ever going to do that just with paid traffic. That's the reality of the situation. Anybody who tries to tell you otherwise, frankly, is telling you porky pies. Yes, some businesses can do it with paid traffic, selling physical products. Some. But if I have to take a general statement, you're generally not going to do it just on paid traffic. So for this one, it's Google Ads. As I mentioned, a lot of Google Ads. but only 14,000 in ad spend for the month. There's a large portion of the traffic for this site is coming organically. So from organic search traffic. And I guess this is one of the big things for businesses that make it to that 8-figure a year mark. One of the big things that they're all able to do is generate organic search traffic. And particularly when you're selling the higher ticket products, this is very important. I can't stress that enough. This is the one thing from me, and I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of e-commerce businesses. This is the one thing, particularly in the high ticket space, that separates the businesses that go really big to those that get stuck small, is they branch out from using paid traffic, which is really often where a lot of people start, right? Is with paid traffic. It gives you that instant hit. It gives you an instant ability to test out whether your products and your business works for your target market. And for that reason, it's fantastic to use paid traffic, and you absolutely have to do it. The ability to pay for traffic is, and do that profitably, is one of the hallmarks of a potentially successful business. But you have to go further than that. You have to be able to generate organic search traffic, because there is just a lot more traffic there. There is more traffic there than almost anywhere else, and there is more traffic of people who are actually in the market and ready to buy at some point in the near future. And so you've got to do that. That's the big one. And for that particular business at this point, the organic traffic is the thing that's changing, right? So the paid traffic, it's increased a little bit over the last 6 months, but it's really the organic traffic right now is starting to take off. It takes a bit longer to develop that. And in this business, it's taken a slower build up, and that's starting to take off now. So at this point, for that month that we looked at there, it was about 50-50 paid traffic to 50% paid traffic, 50% organic traffic, right? But the paid traffic's not changing, right? It's not really going to generate that much more paid traffic than that. That's not the plan. The plan is now we're going to skyrocket that organic traffic past the 50% mark, so that it ideally becomes 70%, 80% of the sales for that particular business are originating from organic search traffic, which will also improve the profit margins on the business, because the cost per acquisition will go down a little bit due to that, and so on. And so you've got to have paid traffic, you've got to have organic traffic, but this business also generates revenue from email marketing and from retargeting, which is paid, obviously. But the more and more organic traffic you generate, the more you need email marketing. So the more you need a way to capture email addresses, get people on your lists, and the more you need to have retargeting, a solid retargeting system in place, because the more organic traffic you get, and the more traffic you get in general, what basically happens is you get a smaller and smaller percentage of bottom of the funnel traffic and a much larger percentage of top of the funnel traffic. So people who are, if you watch the previous episode of the show, I think it was episode 26, I talked about the customer awareness pyramid and the customer journey, and how you have to respect that and find ways to work with the whole customer awareness pyramid. Well, the more you do that, the bigger traffic numbers you get, the more you're going to be exposing your business to all levels of the customer awareness pyramid, and the more you need retargeting as a way to help people move through that customer journey with your business and not with somebody else's business until they're ready to make the purchase that you would like them to make. And so this business also has a good strategy in place for email marketing and for retargeting. And so that's really, for me, the key here is, those 4 things. Like, a lot of people get stuck doing just paid ads, or they get organic traffic, but they miss out on a way to generate email to grow their list, and they don't do retargeting properly, and so they don't take a good enough advantage of any organic traffic they get. And organic traffic, that may also be organic traffic from social media. Depending on what you sell, you might have a large audience on social media where you get a lot of traffic, but you don't necessarily see a lot of conversions coming from that traffic. It's also something that you see happen a lot with people who work with influencers. For example, you get a lot of traffic from some influencer relationships, but it doesn't really convert well. Now, there can be a number of reasons for that, but often one of the reasons is that there's not really a great investment put into follow-up. Whether that's via retargeting, whether that's by having mechanisms built into your site to get people onto your email list when they visit you. And those are definitely things that you need to develop. But if you're sitting there and particularly if you've got a high ticket dropshipping business and you're thinking, man, how do I hit that sort of result? Well, the first thing you need to look at is you need to look at how you're growing your traffic. So if you're not right now putting some sort of investment into building your organic search traffic, then that's the first thing you need to start doing. It takes a little bit of time to start generating that, but that's where you need to start, because you will not get there without that sort of traffic. Past that, you need to then, and so as part of that, you're going to need to start looking at content marketing. Right? So this is the best way to grow your organic search traffic. Funnily enough, it also gives you a lot of opportunities with social traffic as well. If you've got a content marketing plan in place, you're building backlinks and doing all this sort of thing. That's how you're going to grow your organic traffic. And once you've got that ball rolling, then having a think about, well, how am I going to follow up that traffic with retargeting and email marketing? And that's really the secret, right? Now, obviously, there's particular ways that you do all of those things to maximize them and get the most out of them. But that's really the marketing plan, the marketing approach behind those results. So there's nothing going on there that you couldn't implement in your own business and achieve those sort of results. Now, of course, every niche is a different size, so maybe you might have a really small market that can't generate that much revenue, or maybe you've got a much bigger market and you could go straight past that and get to a much higher level. But you can hit a much higher number than where you might be now if you're just doing those things. So that's it. I mean, if you've watched this or listened to this and you've got any questions, I mean, if you're watching it live, of course, on the video recording, just drop in a comment on the live and I'll come back to it. I'm happy to answer any other questions that people have about this. If you're listening at a later date, of course, you can come in and get the recording from this episode and any other episodes at johnwarren.me/ecommerce-with-John. And my name, of course, is Jon, not John. Now, if you see those results and you want to know how to build that marketing system to produce those results for your business, whether you're doing high-ticket dropshipping or not, or you're in some other sort of e-commerce business, you've got your own product that you're trying to market, well, I teach people how to do and how to generate exactly these results. And of course, you can check out more about that at go.buildsellgrowrepeat.com. Build, Sell, Grow, Repeat being my e-commerce marketing program, and where you can get in and learn exactly how to do the organic traffic, the paid traffic, the retargeting, the email marketing, the full works on how to grow your business. So thanks for tuning in today. We'll be back with episode 29 very soon. See ya.